You can't stop me now. Can't stop me now. And my feet have come too far for you to tie 'em to the ground. You can't stop me now. Can't stop me now. Set my sights on where I'm going at. They turn it back around. You can't stop me.
Well, good evening and welcome to Psychic Coffee Shop. I'm Aeson Knight, and with me tonight is Seana Zelazo with her new book, The Way of Anina.
Yep, The Way of Inanna. Yep.
Okay, let's just make the dyslexic go crazy today, shall we?
Oh, it's perfect. It's such a fun. She'll accept anything because she's super open.
Right. Well, she's one of the older Sumerian goddesses, and those are hot buzzwords right now. So, how did you start working with her?
I have always been. First of all, I have long been connected to the end of life and to death. Like as a young kid, really interested in near-death experiences and death, and so she is really a goddess of the death mysteries. And when I went in, I did my undergraduate degree in thanatology, which is the study of death and dying. And then I went into social work and did hospice social work. So I've really been in connection with end of life and really intrigued by death as a process of evolution. And so when I stumbled upon her in my research into the divine feminine, it just really just felt as though she was reaching for me and saying, we know each other. It really feels like a past life devotion.
Okay. That's very interesting and very complex at the same time. A lot of times when I'm working, I'm a child of the Morgon personally, and I've worked with Inanna a little. I'm more Hecate style, and if we're going to work at that level of generation, but the Sumerian gods don't get a lot of press anymore.
You're
so
right.
That's kind of interesting. So how was you when you were trying to do the clinical side of this? Because you're dual trained, you're an actual psychotherapist, and you're a psychic channel, so you're dual trained here. So how did the clinical side of you take this?
So in terms of looking at analogous circumstances that we're dealing with in this current era, in our contemporary lives, the clinical lens really supported the understanding of her myths from today's perspective, and how it can be applied, which is fun.
It is interesting because, a lot of people get stuck in these myths and they go, oh, that's just old stories. But the thread of time is like the threads of the myths. If we talk about different things that she's done, being the lover, taking deliberate actions, living it with your gut instincts, those are so important in your well-being. So, and starting to work with her, how was she to work with?
I love that you asked that question, because I have a teacher, a dear teacher of mine, Shasta Zaring, who when I was writing the book, she said, "Are you going to put a warning label on that?" And I just love that because it just highlights the potency of Inanna. And but when I began working with her, it felt like there's definitely an intensity to it, but an intensity in such a positive way. It's really like, come on, you're ready to let go of what's no longer serving you. And it's just this energy. You also simultaneously feel her support. And so you can tap into her courage, her faith, her strength, because she's the goddess of love and war. So she balances these polarities as she's the evening and the morning star. And she has all of these epitaphs that really capture her multidimensionality. And so when I started working with her, it was such an invitation for me to accept my own multidimensionality and to open my heart to the shadow aspects of me, right? Which is what she does in her descent story.
Right.
So,
which she is the original descent goddess.
That's right. Right.
That this mythos has been applied to so many. And I'm like, Hecate was already down at Golden Keys. She's like, I know this pathway. Let me show you the shortcuts. But they apply it to a lot of different goddesses that just. And in fit training, there's a degree level called the second degree, and it talks about the descent of the goddess. And we're kind of getting into that era right now with in the U.S. of going into the fall, which you see that as the goddess beginning her descent from Samhain to from Mabon to Samhain. If you want to go Greek theology, it's Persephone returning to hell, and it's a lot of tagging that in there. So, how do you honor that each year?
Oh, well, there's a lot of different ways. She had a lot of celebrations in Sumer, in ancient Sumer. She was the new moon celebrations, her new moon feast. So she was celebrated really regularly. But the New Year was the biggest celebration for her because in the descent at the end, she ascends. Of course, she's she's for sure one of the first teachers of ascension. But in the process, she has to choose. Of course, I know you know this story, but in the process, she has to choose a replacement for her in the underworld. And I perceive it as a skillful choice. She chooses her beloved, and really, if you look at it, it's offering him his own process of initiation to grow into his wholeness. But his sister wants to share the year with him, and so when he rises, is the time where there's a huge celebration for her in this union, this Hyros Gamos, sort of sacred union together. So, so the way that traditionally it was celebrated, but for me personally, I like to celebrate it in the new moons. I like to celebrate her as often as possible. I bring her into full moon ceremony.
And that happens when you are, a patron or you are a devotee. There's many words that say that you actually work within that energy and you work with that energy. How was it when you were working hospice and being a channel at the same time? Did you get confused sometimes on your guest list?
That's a great question. No, I always invite her energy in to support. She is such a powerful teacher of self-love. And as you know, in the work that you do, so often that is what folks are seeking, this capacity to heal so that they can embrace themselves unconditionally. And so having her in the space with me is helpful in the shaman work,
It is. It's very helpful having her in space and, having her with you. Absolutely. How did you get started with this?
With the book?
Or ascension story?
Oh, sorry. I just blanked out. The volume blanked out.
How's your ascension story?
Well, my own, how I got into connecting to her.
Yes.
Yeah. So my process with her really was a felt sense of remembering my own past life connection, really feeling like that there's an agreement to bring forward her message so that she could show up as an ascension teacher today. And, there's just such a powerful process unfolding right now on the earth plane. And that wisdom and the understanding of how to raise our vibration to be able to move through our ascension process, to support the ascension process of the earth is so valuable. And it really feels like she intended to be present for this. And there are so many people around the world that are really remembering her. And so I feel like perhaps it is those that have been in connection with her in the past,
Very possibly. I mean, we know, looking through the research we have done and been able to do with past life theory, and yes, I'm going to say theory because, we have to. There is a lot of debate on whether you keep the same religious views and practices from one life to another. Now, if we look at that understanding cycle of it being a situation that is that you keep that thread, that cell memory from one to another. It could highly explain a lot of what we're seeing now in the religious practice, a lot of what we're feeling now, a lot of what we're going through and questioning as we make this shift over from masculine energy and masculine driven energy into a more feminine energy. And that's causing a shakeup with a lot of things.
Absolutely.
Very big push socially to break the patriarchy. We're seeing a matriarchal ideas being re-explored. We're seeing more homes headed by women. Breadwinners are the women. So what's your thoughts with all this stuff being thrown at us, as we're going through this, like this switching over and having to work out this thought pattern idea? It's one of the, what I want to call 3-year-old tantrums going on.
Absolutely. That from a psychotherapeutic perspective, when we're shifting out of old patterns, it's very common for that pattern. Let's think about it like a habit, to really dig its heels in, because it knows it's about to be dismantled. So it gets super loud. If you were thinking of quitting, I don't know, whatever, coffee or something, your desire for it would increase to the point where, it's just overwhelming, just because it knows, you're quitting. So it looks actually to me as something that's positive. It confirms that this shift towards balance, because the divine feminine, really isn't about it's not a dominating energy, right? Which is so beautiful. It's really about being in alignment with the divine masculine. And so the return to balance, it feels like, oh, bring it on.
Yeah, and turning to a better situational setup with it.
Absolutely.
Which allows us a better comfortability. But I think that we're seeing this more and more pop up. We're seeing it more and more with authors popping up and writing about this information, getting this information out there. But we're seeing it in real time.
Yeah.
Example, we're just lost a very strong feminine leader, the Queen. Germany for many years has been ran by feminine energy, or done very well. If we look how Ireland is doing, Australia did. There was a lot of, their prime minister was female. New Zealand doing the same thing. So I don't get why people throw a fit about it.
Do you think people are throwing a fit about it?
Oh, I sit here and see it all the time.
Right.
I mean, if we look at social media alone, the crap that gets thrown out there, we would not have seen 20 years ago. We would have thought, a female vice president, one, I think 20 years ago was overdue. And two, some of the stuff, we see coming out on Twitter is ridiculous. And it's like, really, what is, really going on here? How is things really going on? Okay.
Absolutely.
So what's your feedback?
Well, I agree. I think that there's this I think what's occurring is there's an adjustment happening where people are having to embrace this shift in paradigm that's unfolding. And the skillful energy of the divine feminine, because it's so unifying, it's circular. My my hope, but also my intuition guides me to see it as that it will be integrated. And this is one of the reasons why it's so valuable to have Inanna's presence now, because she does integrate. She integrates the polarities of the masculine and the feminine. She's really beautifully balanced, and that medicine is so helpful right now. If we can encourage that integration. Yeah.
Right. And balancing that energy. especially right now. I mean, because we've got, let's talk about it. We've got the Ukraine and Russia, who apparently misplaced the doomsday device in their submarine. We don't know according to it. We'll be talking about that a little later. But, we've seen so much struggle going on there, but we've seen so much take on and like, let's go to war.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, this sounds interesting,
Mm-hmm.
and my guy's been going, we'll back the real one here. This dude doesn't know how to fight. Let's show him how to fight. What has Inanna said with you about this? Or have y'all had commentary about it?
There's this energy, that comes so much through with it, in all of my interactions with Inanna, all of my experiences with Inanna, which is, it really feels like she has access to her, she is a goddess of war, but I interpret her as equipped with the capacity to slay separation consciousness. So it's
Mm-hmm.
more of a warrior of light.
Right.
And so I feel that energy. I feel the way that, her focus around this is like dissolve that because, when we're
Mm-hmm.
conceptualizing the idea of war, we're thinking from a
Right.
separate perspective, a separation consciousness perspective, and everything from her energy is about moving towards unity consciousness. So when I tune in to, sort of what's going on here, it feels like the strength of her presence is an invitation to say, wait, look, we're all connected. Let's readjust in this way. Let's see
Right.
how we can support each other. Yeah.
Right. And that gets really hectic in there because we're seeing Vladimir lose his head. And have been seeing him like lose his ability to actually control his generals. But, we're also seeing a hero that nobody thought was anything, popping up and, actually like making us look at our leaders and go, can we trade? Like, we'll give you 50 of them for one.
It's such an amazing time here, really, on the earth, because there is such a feeling of change afoot, and that energy, I'm sure from the lens that you're looking at it from, as in the work that you do, it's
Mhm.
so exciting because people are there's an inspired energy of like,
Right.
okay, well, things are changing. How do we want to direct this? And really, Inanna's message is from the heart, right? So then you tune
Right.
into what you're talking about of like,
Mhm.
let's explore ways that feel more aligned with literally love over fear.
And home and family and foundation and all
Absolutely.
those things that start leading up. I very much reflected the history and looking and go, okay, when did we see this? Oh, we saw this about 100 years ago. Oh, we're doing the 109-year cycle. Got it. That type of thing.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
How's your readings? Because you do readings, you do soul readings. How
Yeah.
are they different?
hmm How are we different? Well, I'm sorry, there seems to be just a delay in the,
Right. And there may be.
so how are we different? Well, um, the process that I use, I tune into the Akashic records of the individual and access their guides. And there's really, I mean, it's very similar. The process that I use, I don't use tarot, but that it's a gateway, right? So it is accessing
Right.
such a similar way. And I think that there's a huge crossover because the intention is to help individuals to understand, the way that I work is I help
Mhm.
people understand their soul's journey from the perspective of their life's journey from the perspective of their soul. So then it shifts. It's really very much like what Inanna offers, which is this, idea of going through initiations. The challenges in our life are initiations to our evolution. So when we shift into the lens of the soul, we see how we're all connected. We see that we literally are all one, and it
Mhm.
alters how we engage with the world, and also
Right.
how we engage with ourselves. So we do this transformation internally of self-love that then is broadcast from us and
Right.
informs how we interact.
Right. And your readings are called soul readings. So you're reading from the soul level. I do just basic readings. I do a lot of tarot readings. I'm more of an ER psychic. Call me in when he isn't calling, and let's see where the chart went wrong type
I love
stuff.
that.
Call me when we want to go over a business that's failing, and let's look at the 5 points that you messed up in your astrology chart and why you're even in this business. That type of messiness. What's your favorite style of because that's my favorite. Like, I'm sorry, I love my Jerry Springer clients, bring
Love
you
it.
that type of thing. What about you? What do you like reading?
I love looking at karmic patterns that are surfacing so people can understand what's being played out and not just think like, what the heck is going on here? So connections with people, relationships, and unpacking what each person is supporting the other with, even when it's complicated. Yeah, that's fun for me.
Oh, that sounds enlighteningly fun. So I get put out your website so people can actually go there and book. It'll be in the show description below. And also we have the Amazon link for you guys to hop over and grab the book on Amazon. You can order her book. It does really well. So what was your designed audience for this book?
Well, it really is anyone who is ready to remember their mission, and to that remembering of the mission and is what helps you open your heart to yourself. So anyone who is ready to deepen their experience with their life and walk their purpose.
Okay. And really, start understanding their purpose. Now,
Yes.
it offers rituals and practices.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about those rituals. Are we talking like 3 days in the desert with a backpack and a candle? Or are we talking 45 minutes? Okay, see you later, goddess. I got to go cook dinner.
Yes, much more like that. I love rituals so much because it's so effective and so fast in, and it's really about bringing our intention and our attention to the practice of ritual. It's so individual and creative. But what is wonderful about Anana is she fits into, and that's really the hope that, that's really the aim of the book, is to help see how, even though she is, a very ancient goddess, that she can fit seamlessly into the contemporary context. And so it is practical. The rituals are practical. They are, about, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's important because, some Buddhist teachings talk about meditating 8 and 9 hours a day, and that doesn't fit modern life anymore. It's like, I look at the gods and look at the patterns of the gods, and I understand like Uranus got power over the internet, and Mars is now taking up power of vehicles. I want to know who is the goddess of cell phones. When I talk to Morgan, I'm like, so are you going iPhone or Android? And she's going, I don't need either.
I love that. Oh, I'd be so curious to know who it is.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because as we look, and a lot of people get stuck on this, well, she's a goddess of war and, death and, love, but, that's a little piece of her, but she's all, I'm like, really? Do not think goddesses and gods of war have not been going over here and going, I think I'm trading a chariot for a tank. And this spear has been very nice, but that AKR-57 lightning bolt there works really well.
Upgrading, always.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of feminine consciousness, is this openness to really embrace our evolution, right? So there's, and Anana really, really represents the plasticity of that. She's flexible. She reminds me of an artist who continuously reinvents herself because her creative vision is so strong. It's continuously evolving. And there's an acceptance of like, well, I was doing this before, but now I'm doing this. And it's such a wonderful teaching for us in human form to allow ourselves to evolve into who we are, and not be held fixed to where we were before, and also open our heart to where we were before, so that we can go forward without being tethered to the past,
Right. And not being stuck within that layer of, well, this is how it has to be. I am the leader of the household, or I am this, or I am that. I mean, after 4,000 years, I'm sure Anana has been like, yeah, I used to do that. I'm not in it for that. Yeah, they used to burn animals for me. Now they just leave me text messages.
That's
It's
right.
so much more efficient. They can just leave me a text message and I can be done with it.
I love that so much. I love that. That's exactly right.
Yo.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. And, Phoenix brings up a reminder the Bluetooth symbols is a binary. It is a binary for communication and protection.
So cool.
And when we come back from break, we're going to take a break in a second. I want to talk about Sumerian text and if you've explored some of that, okay?
Yes, absolutely.
So let's go ahead and take our half-hour break, and we'll come back and talk about some Sumerian text.
Awesome.
Hi, I'm Dottie the Psychic, and I'm sure you're wondering why I'm not wearing any makeup. Well, one reason is to irritate my social media manager, Aeson Knight. Hi, Aeson. The other reason is because I like to get to the naked truth about what it means to be a neurodivergent LGBT person with psychic abilities. I've got vlogs, blogs, and podcasts and videos all related to trying to live my best life and helping witches and bitches do the same thing. So, you can check all that out and get a reading from Dottie the Psychic at DOTTIEthepsychic.com. Safe travel and much profit to you.
Do you have a cute pet? We know you do. Each week, Tracy Vann chooses from submitted photos a featured reader for her Facebook page and provides a tarot reading. Your adorable pet cat, dog, rabbit, goat, chicken, snake, or more could be her next featured reader. Visit tracyvann.com, TracyVann.com, and click Featured Reader to submit. We look forward to seeing your pet next.
Hey everybody, Lady Gwendolyn here, and I am here to tell you how to get in contact with me and a little bit about what I do. I am the High Priestess that works with shadow work to help you grow and heal. And I work with access bars, Reiki, I do power forms. I'm recently getting into crystal healing, sound therapy as well. So you can go to Lady Gwendolyn Healing, that is LadyGwendolynHealing.com. Book your appointment with me. I do in person, I do over the phone, I do over Zoom. We can do that as well. My main goal is to help you grow and heal, because I've been there, I'm still going through it, and I let my strength help guide you. See you soon.
Hey everybody, Natalie here from The Pendulum's Path. If you are in need of guidance, direction, spiritual connection, healing, or more, you have come to the right place. I have worked as a psychic and a medium for over 3 years, connecting people from all over the world with their loved ones, giving them insight and guidance into their current situations, their past healings, their blockages, and what they need to know in order for them to have a better future. It would be my absolute honor if you would come to my website at www.thependulumspath.com. Visit my shop. I have a whole bunch of crystals, oils, balms, mystery boxes, and more. And visit my services. I offer 15-minute, 30-minute, and 60-minute sessions. I also have email readings available if you're not comfortable with the one-on-one session with me, or if you just want to try me out. I encourage you to come visit me at the Pendulum's Path, and let's get you back on the right track today.
All right, welcome back. So let's talk about some Sumerian texts and symbols. That we see commonly, like the pentacle was water forever. During the Sumerian times, that they felt that. How much research or how much did you delve into that? Like, did you have to put on some white gloves and head to a library?
I did go through quite a lot of Sumerian texts and a lot of there was so much backstory to Inanna's story, so I wanted to understand those. There's a whole backstory that I talk about in the book about what sort of leads her to the descent that comes from different myths, and so there was a lot of research for sure, but it was so profound to explore it because the Sumerian texts came through or have been translated, not reinterpreted, and that's so different and significant,
It
So
is.
yeah,
It is. I mean, when it's translated and translated direct versus reinterpreted, it's highly important. Now, there was a scandal back in the 80s about some text, Sumerian text that had came out, and it was interpreted. It wasn't translated, and a lot of it was like, okay, well, I don't know what you were doing or what story you were writing, but it wasn't this one. When they went back and looked at the original documents, it's like black and purple.
Well, I absolutely, and Samuel Noah Kramer and Diane Wolkstein collaborated on this one of my favorite books, that their interpretation and translation. He was involved in actually translating The Descent of Inanna, but she was a folklorist and he was a Sumerologist, and they combined forces, which to me is so much like Inanna in the sense that it seemed, first of all, there's that balance of the masculine and the feminine, but also of these two disciplines. So their translation, their joint project was so felt, when I read that contains her myths, I just felt Inanna. It felt like so on target, in part because it was this beautiful blend, very much what Inanna is. Right. Really powerful.
Very much a balance and a blend. And the descent in itself is 7 different gates. One of my sayings, and I'm sure those that have been around me when I've gotten upset, is goddess of the 7 gates. That's who I'm referring to as Inanna. You want to take a look at the gates, and because a lot of people do not understand or have heard of these gates. The first gate is always the gate, the call to spirit, gate 1. What's that chapter about in your book?
So and it's different, right? So the way that I set the gates up, that is my first gate, and I titled the chapters the gates, but that is really about her accessing faith in herself. It works with the crown chakra. I relate all of the gates to the various chakras that do not they are not followed sequentially. They are they are really, like, from an individual's perspective, when we engage with the healing ourselves, it's wherever our wounding is most prominent. So we go into the, sort of like where the scar tissue is thickest, if we will. So it's individual. But in this book, the call to spirit is her really acknowledgement of, like, it's time for me to begin my initiatory process. Something's calling me. My soul is wanting to evolve, and she has to have faith in herself, because in the descent, she's venturing to the great below where no one is allowed to return from, and there's something that she has access to. She has this faith that, like, she's going to come back. So this is the development and faith, I'm sure you see this in your work, that it's such an important key in our evolution, this faith in ourselves to be able to walk this initiatory process and make it through and evolve and ascend.
Well, yeah, but having faith in yourself is so important. One of the biggest problems, especially here lately, is self-worth. And that comes from having faith to do what you need to do. And then the second gate is in your book is the healing ancestral relationships.
Yeah.
This
And in that,
gets me a little bit, so go for it.
yeah. So in that particular gate, we work with the throat chakra, and it has to do with, in this story, the idea of claiming, what is your true voice. So you assess from your lineage what it is you wish to perpetuate and bring forward,
Mhm.
and what is not your voice, and whether you need to let it go. But it is a development of your own your own truth, and being able to articulate your own truth. But in the book, we go through a particular myth, where it's called Inanna and the God of Wisdom, where she is um, she knows, and she sort of sets this up to be
Mhm.
gifted the May is what it's called. It's
Mhm.
spelled Me, but the May, from her grandfather Enki, which are the sacred cultures of the land, the spiritual powers of the land. But
Mhm.
Inanna goes right to her people with them. She shares them right away. So,
Mhm.
but that's part of her makeup, is that she sees herself as a leader, as someone who's here to uplift humanity. So that is our authentic for her to be able to provide that. So
Right.
I like this particular story so much, this myth so much, because it really reminds us of the power and the gifts available to us as well from our lineage. What are the strengths that can support us going forward?
Mhm. Right. And then moving beyond addiction.
Mhm.
Now, this one seems weird for a goddess. If we started thinking about addictions of the gods, I don't really, that's not the first one that pops into my head that we need to be sending off to rehab.
Absolutely. So this one relates to this gate relates to the solar plexus, and it's about the myth, the hulupu tree, which is a tree that Inanna is planning to use the wood from this tree to build her throne and her
Mhm.
bed, so her queendom and her womanhood, and her sexuality, but when the tree is ready, is the
Mhm.
right size, she goes to it and she finds that there are these three beings that are inhabiting the tree, and they will not leave. And
Mhm.
it takes this process of her working through the release of these beings in order for her to actualize the her bed and her throne.
Right.
So she's moving through this the fears that are in the tree. These are attachments that she releases, and that's really correlated with our from a clinical perspective with addiction, in the sense, and addiction is addiction, right? It doesn't
Right.
matter what the
What
type,
it
right?
is.
But it's
Mhm.
there's something there that is at the root of it, right? And so we have to work through that, whether whatever is the wounding that's at the root of that addiction. So
Right.
it's
And
really
I'm
important.
glad you bring up that point that addiction is really medication to a wounding
Right, absolutely.
versus, addiction is addiction. No, it isn't. There's any form of addiction. I don't care what it is: sex, drugs, rock and roll, caffeine, whatever. There is a cell memory linked to that.
For
Now,
sure.
you know, and there's a difference between operational addiction and true addiction. And those are, they get blurred now in headlines so much. But I think this is going to be a very good chapter to look at that, especially with that mythos that they're playing with it, and really delving into it. Now, you connected that with the solar plexus, which
Yeah.
is known as the spiritual connection. In the advocacy theory, your solar plexus is where all your spiritual information comes from, i.e., your gut feelings. So
Mhm.
that's very cool. Gate 4 is achieving positive body image and self esteem. Those are so important.
And Inanna is a goddess who insists on her physicality. She's really present in her body. And so she's an extraordinary teacher in helping us reclaim our sense of our physical as being a part of the divine, not something we need to transcend, but it's actually a vehicle to our movement into our divinity. So it's important for us to have a positive relationship with it as we move through our evolution, because ultimately the whole process is this lifting of vibration. And if we're held in a relationship to our physicality that is conflicted, if we have shame or trauma, in the physical, it's so important to transcend that and to heal. So
Right.
this chapter is related to, or this gate is related to the second chakra. And the story, the myth, is definitely it's the courtship of Inanna and Dumuzi. So it's this love story of her, and this is such a wonderful culture because there is no shame in sex in this culture, and
Right.
it's celebrated and holy. And so she's just a beautiful role model for this.
Very much so. And, that's something else that people, especially readers, need to realize is we're looking at a culture that doesn't have the body shaming that we think of the same geological area of some, Sudan area currently. Now there's a lot of body shaming there, so I'm sure she's not pleased with that.
Right.
The fifth gate is erecting sacred boundaries.
Yes, so important. And in our work, right, as intuitives, it's so important. It's important as we return to our mission on the earth plane that we feel safe doing so.
Right.
And that's where the sacred boundaries are so important. And also, the collective energy, just because there's been so much going on and so much struggle and pain, it's important for us to not be always carrying what's in the collective around that, because it can be so hard. So this particular gate is connected to the root chakra and around safety. And we go through
setting that safety. And you bring up something really important because I preach this a lot. I see this so much out of new techniques. They wake up, they get their ascension, they start working, and it's like they never turn off. And it's like, no, you need time to shut down. You need to I've looked at psychic and said, have you left your house this week?
That's right. It's so important. It's so important because it is the more that the higher the vibration, the more sensitive we are. So the more that we heal, the higher our frequency, and then the more sensitive we are. We want to be well equipped to negotiate that. And to your point, and this is something Inanna teaches I go through 3 of her hymns in this particular gate, and she's really emphasizing, like, be where you are. When you have that hat on as the medium or whatever it is that you're doing, wear the hat. But then when your role is as mother, wear that hat, or your role is as friend or lover or whatever. And really honoring through the sacred boundaries each of those aspects of our multidimensionality.
Right. Okay. And then our 6th gate is transcending the binary.
So this is a third eye issue that we work with in the book, and it centers around a myth called the Holy One, a hymn called the Holy One, wherein she really prioritizes the discernment of the third eye for us to see what is our truth. She's so powerful in the sense that she resists being confined and forced into a box. So, having to choose a particular orientation or whatnot. Her message is use your discerning third eye to see what is true for you and live that,
Right. And to work past that and finding that you are more than a 0 or a 1. You may be a 1.5, you may be a 2, you may be a 4. And getting into that viewpoint is very interesting. And then gate 7 is probably the hardest one for empaths to read. I know it's the hardest one for empaths to work past, and that's surrendering to ascension.
Yeah, that covers the latter part of her descent, and then the dream of Dumuzi, which is another part of this story, and then the return. And so it is her ascension, but
Right.
it addresses the heart chakra and really works with tuning into what is becoming conscious of what's in the heart, because what's in the heart is what it shows up in our reality. So really surrendering into the truth of our where we are today, surrendering, Inanna has to enter the underworld. They're bowed low and naked, right? So she's stripped. She just had to surrender all of her
Right.
her
Veils,
yes,
her
absolutely.
clothes, her smocks,
Absolutely.
even her shoes.
Right. Absolutely. She is going in there completely naked, stripped. And that's the surrender. Is like, okay, here we go. We're going through our evolution. But that surrender is why we start with the faith, because we have to have faith in ourselves in order to truly surrender. And that brings us ultimately, the surrender brings us into the heart,
And then the next one here, which I think would be an interesting chapter for any priest or priestess, is the next steps for present day priest / priestess of Inanna or any goddess. Tell us about this chapter.
Yes, absolutely. So, the training, of course, of a priest or priestess is very long, and it is such a beautiful commitment. But this chapter is really meant to sort of spark your interest. Is this a path you would like to take? And it integrates the gates and adds the additional aspects that represent Inanna, including her emphasis on what is present in the death mysteries, which is the unfinished business and resolving your unfinished business. And this ultimately, accessing grace. And this chapter really helps us to really pull the gates that we've just gone through to integrate them all, and then explore how this shifts our perception of our world and how we want to live our life.
Right.
It like the idea of conceptualizing it from the lens of a priestess priest or priest makes us. It invites in this desire to take action to support the collective, the earth, humanity, and to engage with the higher realms on a regular basis, to feel the magic that is present all the time.
And to feel the manifestation and to feel, and to question, I don't know, I tell my priestesses all the time, focus on your community, focus on your home, because, priests and priestesses get, especially new ones, they want to go out, they want to, take on the world peace, and everyone should be singing Kumbaya. And it's like, can you get the hungry fed in your neighborhood? Can you get a potluck organized? Okay, great. Start with that. Start with those little seeds. And I don't remember which god or goddess it's appropriated to. But it's appropriated to, the stone soup mortality. It's probably Caragwen. Sorry, I'm more fluent in Celtic and,
Yes, I love it. I love Caradwyn.
And her potion that she's brewing for her child. And then looking at the descent of the goddess, and this was a very pivotal time. The two times I've done it for me, because I'm dual trained pagan, so the two times I've done this, it's a very pivotal time in my life. And when you come out of that, it's always that point when you're looking at your life and going, "What isn't serving me? Like, do I really need to be here? Do I really need this person in my life? Do I need to hand out some pink slips today?"
Right.
Now I do, and I want to bring it back to a pre-show conversation. But if someone is going to do this descent ritual, which I figure is in this book, or they want to go and search out the descent and then do the ritual, guys, in Dorothy Morrison's book, it's called Shifting of Energies, and another spell is called Tornado Alley. Both of those spells will change a lot in your life, whether you're ready for it or not. The descent and the reascension is another one that changes a lot in your life. So read the book. It's a good book. have a notepad and pen, and yes, there's a test afterwards. Promise you there will be at least one. But also realize that if you decide to go take this on, this is not the chocolate ritual. You're not going to wake up bubbly and happy the next morning and go, oh, life is grand. It's work. It's spiritual work. It's spiritual warfare at times with yourself, with the environment, but it's for your own growth. So, what are we doing next?
The next project coming forward is a podcast.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, the Unapologetic Heroine podcast, wherein I'll feature. Yeah, I'm super excited about it. So that's what's on the back burner for, well, soon to be shared. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, we definitely want you back and get information
Thank you.
on that. When do you work? How do you work? Are you phone based? Are you Zoom based? Or do they have to be in a local area? How does that work for you?
Yes, so I do it remotely. So with Zoom is great. And you can reach me on my website. And yeah, I mean, I definitely do see folks in person, but my clients like yours, they're all over. So Zoom is so effective, and it was sort of the way I was rolling before all of this happened anyway.
I really wasn't that big of a Zoomer until all the panini happened.
Yeah.
And then it's, because I was on the road. I've been working in this business going on 20 years. I was on the road in 2018. We were on the road 46 weekends that year.
Wow.
And broadcasting 2 shows. And when the panini hit, it was like, okay, cocoon time. And then I had the debate of, do I want to do this?
Mm-hmm.
Like, am I really doing the best here? No. It's no longer fun because, I retired for nursing now 24 years ago. 20 years ago. So it's 20 years since I completed my nursing degree. But, I retired for nursing and I said, I'm not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to play. And that's what I see this all as, is play.
Mm-hmm.
And, I kind of took that different perspective of do what you want and you'll never work a day in your life a little too far.
I love that.
Yeah.
Do it.
And we're doing great. I mean, we have podcasts, we have magazines, we've got Patreons. This hasn't affected me. How about you? What have you seen from the clinical and also from the channeler view of this and this trying time that we're in right now?
Well, this idea of really it's this collective dark night of the soul. So many people being invited to just explore. To your point, does this resonate anymore? Because if not, so many people making huge transitions in their life, and getting really going through a process of letting this dark night of the soul energy help them remember who they are. So there is this, I am actually hearing more of what you're describing of, I want my work to be aligned with my spiritual mission so that it doesn't feel like work.
Right.
There's a big shift in this direction, and I love this so much.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's pain that goes with it too, right? Because you're letting go of old patterns.
Old patterns, old behaviors, old viewpoints, questioning whether I'm seeing a lot of people needing this book right now because they're already at like gate 3 and going, do I really want this ruby ring, or can they take it? And what I really also like is this is more even though there's rituals in here, there's not a lot of, okay, so this is how you do, you take the broom and you stir the cauldron and all of a sudden Mr. Right pops into your life. That type of thing. This talks about the real work, the great work. is what this theory is known as, is called the Great Work, and working on the death mysteries. What's your favorite mythos with Inanna?
You know, I think the myth Inanna and the god of wisdom, because it opens with a scene of her, and I quote this in the beginning of the text of my book, where she's leaning back against a tree and she's gazing upon her holy vulva and she applauds herself. And I just love this so much for so many reasons, because the message is not only love yourself, but the message is, hey, connect with your second chakra, your center of creativity, so you can access the creative capacity to co-create with source, to bring about a world that reflects peace, love, unity. Literally, you have this ability. And she, in that gesture, I mean, I love the rest of the story as well, but I love the beginning, because in that gesture, what she's doing is she's saying, dissolve all shame, celebrate your power, celebrate your generative capacity, and use it for good. Because what she does next is she goes to her grandfather and she seeks out the sacred cultures of the world, and then she shares it with humanity to support them. And I just love that message. It's we can all engage in this way. We can all look to how we can uplift, what we can do to support each other.
Well, I think one of the most powerful lines in your book, and I've got it highlighted here, is, as a mother, she allowed me to let go of perfection. Sometimes I'm the mother I want to be, and sometimes I'm not. With her help, though, I am able to let go of the judgment around this and accept my limitations, to find a way to use them to become a strength. I think that really should be like turned to a meme. Like, get your press boys on this.
Will. Thank you so much.
Because, we've got to realize we're not perfect. We are in a culture right now that wants perfection, and, you got to use the right tone and the right this and the right that. And, I don't know, someone apparently thinks if your child doesn't like your dinner, that you failed as a mother, or if there's shoes and crap all over your house, and yes, I am working on a cleaning system, that you failed as a housewife-ish person. And it's like, no, guess what? 50 years ago, there was a pair of shoes there and the world did not crumble.
Absolutely. That's one of the reasons she's so relatable, is because she really brings the divine into the human by way of her connection to her physicality and by way of her polarities. They're so relatable. We can look at like how we can be simultaneously, patient and calm and loving and damn impatient too, and she just puts it out there and she's like, yeah, that's it. That's how you are. And she embraces it. Yes.
That's divine. And, that's something else I think your book does, is realize and help people realize, whether you're a devotee to her or not, you have a divine spark.
Yeah.
You can be a god and create chaos all you want.
Yes.
Go out and raise hell. Just make sure to put back where you got it from.
She definitely reminds us that the divinity is that the human path is itself, and that the divine is inherent in the human form, and that we can use our human experience to move into even greater access to our divinity, that it's not separate, that it's a vehicle for it,
Right. One of your sections is farewell, finding your bearings. Now, is this another psychological inventory chapter? If someone sees this and is just flipping through the book, or what is this?
This is more about sort of the way in which the divine feminine was subjugated throughout history, and why it needs to be resurrected to restore balance. So it's sort of helping us make sense of why for example, the second chakra needs this healing in the first place.
Yes. And why, you need to find your own stability. I think that, Do I think the divine feminine has been hidden for a while? Yeah, but I also think there's been a lot of guilt added to that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
A lot of guilt added to, well, I'm just a stay-at-home mom. No, you're the CEO of at least 3 companies and you're trying to manage them at the same time.
Absolutely.
You don't have papers to hand off to the marketing department to handle this field trip and something to hand off to the accounting department to figure out how much you spent at Kroger's. It's learning to accept that no, you're doing much more work and much more accessory there. Okay, darling. So let's, talk about where to get your book at, where to get a hold of you, because we're at the top of the hour.
Wonderful. Well, I'm so grateful for being able to share this time with you. The book, The Way of Inanna, A Heroine's Guide to Living Unapologetically, is available at booksellers worldwide. So Amazon and any place you would buy books, it's available, as well as online. And my website is seanazelazo.com. So if you're interested in connecting and getting a reading, let me know, reach out.
And are you doing classes yet? Or
I do classes. Right now I'm not, but they'll start back up in the new year.
okay.
Sure.
Well, can you spell that out for them real quick?
Sure. It's SeanaZelazo.com.
And the link's in your show notes below, guys. All right, honey, thank you for stopping in for a cup of coffee. Come on back when your podcast launch. Let's have a little bit of a celebration and some fun, okay?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. You have a lovely evening.
You too.
All right, guys, we'll be back after the break with Joe.
Welcome back, goblins! My name is Jason, and I am the host of the Esoteric Book Club, a podcast that examines titles on the magical, paranormal, the mysterious, and the strange. I release 2 episodes a month in which I review books on esoteric topics, recap news of the weird, and conduct interviews with authors, practitioners, and experiencers. The Esoteric Book Club can be found on every major podcast service or can be streamed directly from esotericbookclub.org.
Hi, I'm Tracy Van. I provide a blended reading consisting of mediumship, psychic, and tarot cards. A reading from me can cover any guidance you need from relationships with your partner or your family, spiritual, financial, any questions you may need clarity on. If you would like to book an appointment with me, check out my website, tracyvann.com. That's TracyVann.com. I have bookings from 15 to 60 minutes you may choose from. That helps if you just have a quick question, need an answer, or if you're looking for a reading in more depth, I'm here to provide the guidance and clarity for you. Let's just figure it out. Bye.
Hi, Techie Joe here. I work with Aeson Knight and some of the best psychics in West Virginia to create amazing live streams and podcasts for the Psychic Coffee Shop Network. Together, we brew up great content discussing news, events, hot topics, and more, all from a psychic perspective. On the Psychic Coffee Shop, we interview amazing authors in the metaphysical realm. Coffee and Tea combines Aeson with Tracy, Dottie, Natalie, or Lady Gwendolyn for the good and the bad of being a psychic. Shameless Self-Promotion with Dottie the Psychic talks to leading and emerging YouTubers and business owners in our community. Mountain Bears brings you the latest in LGBT news and politics. The Psychic That Plans answers the question of, well, how a psychic plans. Plus, we're live on air. We take your comments and your questions, including psychic advice questions. Check out our amazing programming, book an appointment with top psychics, and find out all the wonderful things we have to offer at PCSBnetwork.com today. Hi, I'm Aeson Knight. I provide tarot readings covering everything from love and relationships to your life questions and your most spiritual answers. And also, I provide a lot of guidance in finances and divorces and all those relationship problems. So, if you'd like to get a reading from me privately, not on air, you can feel free to do so by visiting aesonknight.com and booking your appointment. I also provide on-demand services, so if your life is a little chaotic, you can go ahead and click that call now button there on my site, right for a quick answer question. All right, guys, back to the show. Enjoy.
All right, welcome back, and hello, Techie Joe. How are you, darling?
I'm doing pretty well. Well, that's not entirely true, but I'm here.
Yay, you've arrived. You've arrived.
Yes, and I'm sorry if I messed your cam up earlier. I apologize to all you guys. Apparently, we're having that same internet issue again. So when I tried to sit in the green room, I noticed everything went to crap real quick. And I was like,
Really?
"Ooh, run away."
I didn't even notice, honey.
Oh,
Oh, gotta love them. No, we don't.
no, we got to kill them. That's what we got to do. Hey, Brenda. Hey, Phoenix.
Hi,
Oh,
Phoenix.
my goodness.
All right. So I kind of alluded to this, but it's being reported that Russia has apparently lost a tank. Well, not a tank, a whole submarine.
Oh, a whole submarine.
Yeah.
How does one lose a submarine? Did grandmas get some snorkeling gear and just go beat it out of them?
I'm not sure, but it's a good possibility.
I mean, like I'm just sitting here like someone need to make some bathtub gin, needed a bigger bathtub. What bad submarine jokes? I've got them all day.
All right. I will send you the report
Oh, fun.
so that we can cover this.
Brenda's betting on farmers.
I'm betting on grandmas because I'm quite sure they have ideas for this.
Oh, alrighty.
Farmers would not know what to do with a submarine.
Oh, there it is. So, yeah, Russian nuclear submarine with doomsday weapon has just disappeared. Russia's nuclear submarine has disappeared with its doomsday weapon, capable of reportedly creating a 1,600-foot radioactive tsunami. Wow. So, yeah, North Korea reportedly fired a missile over Japan a few hours ago, and now Russia's flagship nuclear-powered submarine with its doomsday weapon have gone missing. An entire submarine in 2022 is missing. NATO has reportedly warned members that the nuclear-powered submarine isn't in its White Sea base, where it has been sitting active since July. Officials are now warning, fear-mongering, blame-shifting, that Russia will use its Belgorod nuclear-powered submarine in its doomsday weapon, Poseidon.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Poseidon is the next generation of weapon systems that the Doomsday carrying a nuclear bomb, with Italian media reporting over a 16,000-foot radioactive tsunami would result in Doomsday weapon being used. The drone would drop the bomb in a depth of 1 kilometer near a coastal city where anyway, huge wave smashes, hits crows, Neutronium, the environment, and killing
Silk
untold.
smash, go boom.
Yeah. U.S.
Smash,
officers are always ready with a quote at this time, with static intelligence experts. Oh, yeah, the author of Putin's playbook, it seems. Robert Conference said that Russia would only use this weapon as a last resort in the event of Russia and the United States in a direct canonic war, and Russia is long. So, what would this weapon do? What weapon would much more advanced U.S. military have in its arsenal? The Rod of God, Machron 2.0, anti-Machron bomb. because we all know the U.S. isn't sitting around scared of Russia without their own doomsday weapon. Comfort added that the doomsday weapon on board the nuclear submarine most likely won't be operational until 2027.
Well, that's if they find their sub.
Yeah, that's if they can find the sub. Okay.
Have you tried Subway? Have you gone to Subway yet? No.
No. I find it interesting they haven't been able to find their sub. I also find it interesting that sadly a lot of Russian shit is blowing up. Like, I don't know, the fuel lines going from Russia to the Europe have been sabotaged. We've had warships sunk. Their flagship ship is sitting on the bottom of the Black Ocean. He's having to buy stuff from North Korea because A, it's the only one that'll sell him anything, and B, he's out of money, so he has to pay black market prices.
I know, right? I don't know. I just kind of see Russia like going to like I don't know. I feel like Russia is at flea market level for armament.
You're going to start seeing Vladimir Putin showing up at a gun show looking for weapons soon, okay? My question is, however, is his generals just said, you know what? Why don't we take this and hide this over here? You know, the boss is a little crazy. Let's take, because we've heard stories, you know, that the football that Trump carried was not really the football. That it was more so the soccer ball. The football was more sitting at the Capitol. We are hearing different communications that, you know, a lot of things are not aligning really good. For Russia, we also have, you know, the Ukraine requesting a very quick entry into the United Nations, which is going to, in you know, Article 5 is going to come into a conference there, and we may be a little busy reminding Russia just why they're Russia at the same time.
I know. I like come on, Russia. This is just sad.
Yeah.
Well, this is I mean, I'm not really encouraging Russia to get better at war.
Well, can't
like,
I don't think with the war, because this is like a few things that have gone missing over the years. I mean, when Soviet Union fell apart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, was Gorbachev like the like brains of the whole operation? They've just kept him around this long until Putin was like, no, I don't need him. I know everything now. I know it all. I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good. Then Gorbachev dies and they go into a war, and it's like, dear God, he's lost everything.
Well, I think that I think that it's like trying to play war games with toys, and you let a 3-year-old play with your game.
Well, but then again, the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, no, it's been
right.
It's been an experience. I mean, I don't want to say I feel bad for Russia, but I kind of feel bad for Russia. Like, this is an embarrassment. Like, it's just this continuous, never-ending embarrassment right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I don't want them to be good at it.
Right.
Like, I'm kind of glad to find out, no, they really suck at this now.
Yeah.
Like, they really had it going back, 50s through the 80s.
Right.
And then it's like they show up now, because I remember even growing up,
mm-hmm.
like, even in the 90s, we were still scared to death of Russia, and like, oh God, like, please don't take them off. Please don't take them off. Like, no. We played the stalemate game. Please don't do this. We don't want to do this. And then, I don't know, somehow we got like past 2015, and it's like, no, blow up the world. I don't care.
Yeah. I think that I think that, here's the problem, and I really debate this, but I wonder what the United States has that nobody else knows about. Because if we look back, we see Kennedy going, yeah, let's negotiate peace. You take those fucking missiles back where you put them, Russia. Then somewhere around Carter, there was this talk of peace, and of course, Ronald Reagan went real big into the peace mission, and we go all the way through even Bush. Mr. War-torn Bushes, either one of them loved war because it made the money on the gas.
True.
And then somewhere around Bush 2, we stopped being so worried about, you're going to fire missiles? Cute. Hey, Johnny, can you fire up F-1387 and just kind of like show them what can occur?
I don't know. I understand the need for kind of the like, okay, what's the hidden truth? And I think that's a natural reaction to it, is like, okay, so what do we got that beats this? Because no one seems to be all that concerned.
Right.
But then I wonder if it's almost kind of like the Panini response where, it's more so everything was really scary at the beginning, and it was like we were at the edge of war.
Mm-hmm.
And then we did that for like a generation, literally. We did it for an entire generation. Like I grew up with bomb drills.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we were like, they called them like, disaster preparedness drills.
Right.
Yeah, they were bomb drills. We were scared to death. Like we were going to have bombs dropped on us. I got it. And I think most people did.
Right.
Because it was, it was part of the news. And like somewhere along the way, did we all just kind of go, yeah, they could do that.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of hope they don't. Mostly.
Right.
But if they do, what do we do to stop it? Like, we can't live in this constant state of fear.
And I'm sorry, he just seems like an old boyfriend that keeps just coming back and creating issues.
Well, yeah. Well, Russia in general, yeah. Is kind of like this weird stalker ex that keeps showing up and is like, hi, did you forget about me?
Yes, we did. On purpose.
Yes, everyone did.
Yes.
Everyone forgot about you because no one cares anymore.
The only one that cares is the one that's being a little bitch over there, hello, North Korea. How's your Tonka toys? Are they still doing well, Quinn Dimley? I understand you had a very passionate pen palship with your little friend that's no longer in office, who's now crying to the Supreme Court, they took my papers.
Yeah. Well, but then you turn around and with North Korea, it was the same kind of thing, because I remember in the 90s, like flipping Model UN, I tell you what. Like in the 90s, that was still the big hot topic, was nuclear armament of North Korea. And again, it was this giant like, oh God, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. How do we de-escalate the situation? Don't do it.
Right.
And then again, I think it kind of, we did this, and I especially coming off the Cold War, I think it kind of fast-tracked itself.
Right.
I don't know that we have any better weapons, really. Like, I mean, some improvements, I'm sure, but I don't know that we have anything better than we did then. I don't think we're really doing all that much better.
Right.
But I think that as a country, as a people, as a populace of the world, we just kind of got to the point of, well, that could happen.
Right.
And just moved on. It's sort of like where we're at now with the Panini, which is like, well, that could happen. Right. Moving right along in conversation. Just, is that necessarily the best reaction to have? Probably not. It's certainly not on the Panini. But I mean, argumentatively the same for nuclear armament and the situation of potential nuclear war, total nuclear devastation, mutually assured destruction, however you want to phrase it. I don't know that's the best place to be, but I think it is where most of us are.
Right.
Like, I think we had more of that, like, G.I. Joe's going to fix it.
Right.
through the 50s and the 80s, well into the 90s, and then somewhere in the 2000s, it was like, nah, we just don't care anymore.
Right. Well, hello, Shannon. Welcome to the table. Coffee's sitting over there. Grab the cookies. Have a seat. All right. So let's start out with.
Well, you do have a question, side note.
I know. I'm going to get it in between. Are you an asshole? And relationship advice.
Okay.
All right. Let's take on relationship advice. This one will be fun.
Ah, there we go. All right. Well, this is a short one. Why do I get attached to boys too fast? I, 18 female, have a problem with getting attached to boys too quick. My father died when I was 13. I had a great relationship with him, and I don't have a good relationship with my mom. When I hang out with a boy a couple of times and he can't see me for the next time because he's busy, I have dark thoughts. I think they don't like me anymore. Can someone explain this problem? Because I really can't understand it.
It's real easy. You really should not be trying anything new. Yes, you do need therapy. You have daddy issues, but you have what is called new relationship hormone addiction.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that it's like traditional daddy issues.
No.
Like, because typically when you say daddy issues, people think of the, like, trying to get daddy's attention, so you'll do anything to get that. I don't think that's where it is. I think it's, she's looking for a man to save her.
Right.
So she has damsel in distress syndrome out the ass, is what this sounds like.
Right.
And because she's in distress.
Right.
And she's looking, I think, for a man to fix it. Like, I think that's who her father was. And then she went through a long period without that. And mom was not, doing double duty. She was doing her best as a single mom. And not even trying to fill the daddy role. So yeah, I think that's where she's at, is that she's just kind of still dealing with the abandonment, having some problems there.
Yes. So my advice is, 1, get into therapy. 2, find a life without a man. And 4, make everything about you and your life. And a man is a nice perk, not required. But get to that point before you go getting another man. If you want that much attention, get you a dog, or get 2. So while one's sleeping, another one can play with you.
And Shannon, the answer is Brenda. Brenda told us you were eating Oreos.
Yes. All right, so let's take my question before we ask the world if you're an asshole.
Hey, I'm not the asshole. All right. So Phoenix 10678, is there a message I need to hear?
Well, let's see what the grand old terror has to say. All right. So first card up is the King of Swords. You need to be making some decisions. Are you liking it right now? Because then you got to go back and make things a little bit simpler with the Six of Cups, keeping it comfortable. And then you have the Ace of Pentacles, meaning you have a new financial opportunity coming your way. You just don't see it yet. So rock along there, but don't be a tyrant. Always remember the principle of KISS. Keep it simple, silly. All right, so what do you bring us from Are You the Asshole's Vault?
All right. Am I the asshole for not paying for my niece's college tuition? I, 45 male, am a father of 3, 25 male, 21 male, and 18 female. But I also take care of my niece, 17 female, after her father passed away. My wife, 45 female, and I always treated her like family, and we give her things equally to the others so that she doesn't feel left out. Honestly, really care about her, but financially, I can't support her all my life. When my eldest moved away, I had more money to spare, so I was able to get her more things. My daughter is now going away to college, so my niece was excited and came to my wife and I about colleges she liked. I told her it was great she was thinking of college, and I said it would be good for her to apply for scholarships now, so it'd be easier later. She laughed and asked why when her tuition would be paid for. I told her that no, I wouldn't. I only had money to pay for my kids, but I would help her out with basic necessities. She was silent after that and went to her room. Apparently, she spoke to my father because he called me in a rage and said I was being cruel to her, especially since my brother was always close to me when he was alive. I told him I just didn't have the type of money saved, and he said if I cared for her, I would have started saving as soon as I took her in. My brother died very young, so he didn't have much saved, and my niece's mother's side isn't offering anything. I admit I could have told her earlier that I wouldn't pay for her tuition, but I didn't. Am I the asshole? Now, there's a little bit of an add-on here that I think is worth noting.
Okay.
All right, so, all right, let's get there. Okay, so the dad, the brother, father, died when she was 11, so 6 years ago. Her mother was originally from the Netherlands and returned to her country, but didn't want to pull the child out of school and away from everything she knew and take her back to the Netherlands. But that's where the mom's from. That's where the mom is. Yeah, so they get very minimal from Social Security, like not enough. Like he has to supplement that. Like it doesn't really pay for everything. It helps, but it's not everything. And yeah. All right. Those were the big ones.
All right, y'all guys aren't going to like me. I don't think he's the asshole.
I don't think he is either. I think this is one of those unfortunate situations that he may have responded like a dick, but I think it was like, and it was definitely a conversation that maybe needed to occur sooner and not with like the slap in the face it became. Because she had this idea and it was like reality check.
Well, not only a reality check, but here's the thing, and people do not like my opinion. I don't think parents should be paying for colleges. I don't.
I don't know. I think there's the gold standard idea that parents pay for college or could pay for college, help out with college. I mean, and I don't think every parent ends up paying entirely for college. Like my dad didn't.
Right.
But there was some supplementing there. But yeah, and I'm not trying to knock that. Without it, I wouldn't have finished college. And that was actually my dad and my grandmother, but that's, but no, I don't think he's the asshole. I think he handled it poorly. But I don't think he's an asshole for being honest about the fact that financially he just can't do this. That like he started early, he planned ahead, and then 6 years ago got handed his niece.
Right.
Well, see, here's the problem, Brenda, and Aeson too. Mm-hmm. Here's my problem: is the federal government expects parents to pay. Like it seems to be part of the concept, because when you try to get loans as the so-called adult that you are, they immediately don't give a shit about you. They know you're broke.
Right.
Like, duh. Right. And then you do that lovely FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid, and you have to provide, or they expect you to, it's a real pain in the butt if you can't, your parents' income data.
Right.
So that they can determine how much you, as the student, are eligible for in any kind of federal aid.
Right.
The federal government assumes your parents are paying for your college or at least contributing meaningfully as much as they can. Because they already know you, the student, are broke.
Right. Well, on average, she's going to get $600 a month until she's 26 years old. 1. 2. I don't know when we got into this world that parents pay for college and everything's just paid for up until you're 24, 28, or 29. And parents have to save and work their 2 and 3 jobs. We've covered this topic before. No. You want college, work for it. You want college, bust your ass to get that. You want to work extra, great. Does everybody need to go to college? No.
Well, I definitely agree with the last point. Not everyone needs to go to college. And I
Right.
don't think parents need to push kids to go to college. And I think if you're going to force your child,
Right.
now turned adult,
Right.
so your adult child, to go to college just to
Mhm.
satisfy a requirement that you've put upon them, then yeah, you need to pay for that.
Right.
Because there's enough, like, no one should be stuck with that.
Right.
But otherwise, I
Right.
can kind of see that. I don't think that that's necessary, that should occur, but it
Right.
is what our federal government, at least in the US, is what they assume is going to happen.
Right.
Like, and it becomes a real problem because I went
Right.
through some of this myself, at least in terms of having a deceased parent, and we've talked about that on the show and the nightmare that was. But then also it became an issue with my father not wanting to provide that data.
Right.
Because at the point in which he told me to get AIDS and die, he decided he no longer needed to supply that information for my FAFSA recertification.
Right.
And so we had lovely back and forth conversation, because you can't elect out. Like, it's hard enough to get them to leave you the fuck alone with a dead parent.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a living parent,
Right.
they assume that parent is going to willfully, willingly, lovingly give you that data.
Right.
And the process breaks if you can't get it. Like, you can literally get screwed out of going to college just because a parent says, I'm not giving you my data.
Right. Well, and that's when you have to go and prove other documentation, that type of thing. Furthermore, the mother is still living in the Netherlands. Now, in the Netherlands, they do have free college.
Yeah.
That child is technically an American and Netherlands child. So therefore, it's the easy decision is go live with mommy and go to college there and get a better education, because we all know that
And do it for free.
Yeah, and go for free.
Because I'm assuming the Netherlands has a nice, social college experience. If that's an option to her, I assume it probably is. It's probably no big deal. But it's one decision. It's one way to go about it, and it's probably a better educational opportunity.
Right.
Like, even if she wants to come back to the States, it's a different education. It's a different set of thoughts, depending upon what she wants to do. That could work out great for you.
Yeah. University fees in the Netherlands is free, secondary to it, and that is everything. Plus, you get I'm going to say it's around $600 to $800 for you to live on while you're there. As a student, the government gives you a stipend each month. They have better tuition only programs than we have here. So that would have been the intelligent decision for this child to make. But going, I want to go to study at Green Bay, well, that's cute.
I'll give the mom some asshole points, but I really think the biggest asshole in the whole situation is probably the grandfather. Not because he doesn't want to pay for college or doesn't, because I think a few commenters said, well, why don't he put his money where his mouth is? But just the fact that he started at Rage and didn't really okay, what the hell?
Right.
And why did everyone have this assumption?
Right.
He didn't check the assumption or why he had it. He just launched into, I'm going to bully you. And it's it's great that they were close. His sons were close when they were younger. That's great. but there's a limit here. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, there's just Close isn't money in the bank. Close didn't, take out a life insurance policy. Close didn't
Right.
do a lot of financial planning, which granted is true for a lot of people.
Right.
But then there becomes a point that, as a 45-year-old father of 3,
Mm-hmm.
plus a, benefactor of a niece,
Right.
at what point does it end?
Right.
Like, and like, this has been a pretty decent sacrifice up to this point.
Right.
Is what it sounds like. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Nah. I'm not calling OP the asshole. I'm surprised because I started reading that one when I was picking it up for the show, and I'm like, oh, he's so the asshole. He's the asshole. He's the assholiest asshole.
Right.
And then it's like, no, I kind of see his point, and I see where this is going, and I see the problems here.
Right.
Is like, yeah, okay. Because, I mean, like, my very first reaction to the title was like, why the fuck are you paying for your niece's college education? Then it's like, oh, you took her in. And it's like,
and he was supposed to save up for her along with these other 3 children at the same time. Why paying for another?
And catch up 11 years.
Yes.
And catch up 11 years.
Yes.
Like, 0 college savings. Boom, here's your 11-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now you have to like backfill 11 years worth of college education pre-planned savings, and then you've got to do that within like 7 years.
Right. And my question is, this niece is 17. Why was she not at a job? Why was she not hitting the newspaper route at 14? Why was she not? Obviously, mommy's dearest isn't doing the best here. So
now, I've got a lot of questions about mom.
Yeah.
Like, mom doesn't seem at all involved.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't know. Is this just one of those situations where, like, you have a crappy brother who, hooked up with some crappy woman and they were just crappy parents, and then one of them died and the other one shot back across, the ocean?
The pond.
And it's like, see ya.
Right. And then, my question also is, was there death benefits? What was the use of those death benefits? Is there a tuition savings in those death benefits? Where's the rest of this?
Yeah, and the answer is probably not.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So moving right along, we do have one more question.
We do. Let's go ahead and take that question.
All right. So Natalie, 42184, says, give me whatever.
I want to see you in a very dark lip, Natalie. Anyhow, so fine. There's your
very
dark lipstick, like a nice blush lipstick. All right.
Okay.
So first up, we have the Page of Cups. Someone's talking. Someone's got something interesting going on. Then we have the Five of Wands here. You need to get planning and engaging with people. But there's emotional stuff you don't want to deal with the Two of Swords here, reminding you that it's going to cause you to take on a new battle. And with that new battle, your choices is your own.
All right. Hey, Natalie says, send me shades.
Okay, I will.
Not the shade. Don't send me the shade. Like, don't be throwing shades at Natalie. Oh, Phoenix, did you miss it?
Yeah, we done that.
Yeah, he like a few minutes ago. You're gonna have to like rewind. There was a message. Message waiting. Oh yeah. Oh, Natalie's dying over there. Yeah, good deal. Oh, Robert, what's up? Not tonight? Interesting. Do you have a headache? Oh no, Phoenix had technical difficulties. Yeah, we understand that one. That's been my day.
Wifey, Jeffree Star cosmetic color. There you go.
Wifey is the shade?
Yes.
Wifey?
I will share it.
Oh, God. Oh, at least it's not like peony pink.
Right.
That was my grandmother. Like, it's weird the things when you take care of someone for 7 years that you learn about them. But my grandmother's lipstick shade was peony pink. She wore that damn shade of lipstick for, I don't know, my entire life.
Uh-huh.
Well, she was a very white woman, so it actually looked like a dark lipstick shade. She was a little old white lady,
Yeah.
Oh no, apparently when Phoenix's screen flips, we sound drunk and he loses connection. It's actually really funny. Oh, you're going to have to video that and show it to us.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But no, apparently Wifey makes Natalie laugh, so yeah.
Give me a second.
Going to show us Wifey?
Yeah, it's actually a very pretty color.
Okay, let's see where we went.
Well, if I can get it to share.
So are you suggesting like bluish shades, I take it?
No.
Okay. Well, you said a dark.
Yes.
Well, it's kind of a bluish shade.
No, that is not. There is no blue in that. That is a nice dark crimson red.
Yeah, but crimson red has hints of blue to
her skin.
Yeah. Well, Natalie says vampy.
Yeah.
Brenda says it sounds like drunk robots when it glitches for me. Oh, yes. Welcome to the Psychic Coffee Shop, not to be confused with Drunken Divination. That's a totally different channel.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, no, I like the shade. I was just curious, what tone family you were going with.
Yeah.
I swear to God, that's a bluish because your alternative was orangish.
No.
Okay.
No, when you say bluish, this is what I think you think of. What makes me think of.
Mm-hmm. Like, where are we at on the scale? I didn't mean Smurf. Good God. I wasn't talking hypothermia blue. Yeah, so Brenda's like 50s pinup girl red. Mostly.
Yeah, darker. Mostly. More like 70s pinup girl red.
Mm-mm. No, 70s was not. No.
Yes.
No, 70s pinup girl was a pink.
Yeah.
Like 70s were all about the neutrals. It was either pink or brown.
Mm-hmm.
Like that like brownish tinge.
Yeah.
It is a pretty blue. Natalie has that color.
You're still on the property blue, and I really like that one from Jeffree. He's not come out. I thought he had one called Show Me the Money. I'm looking for it.
Oh, someone wants to know, oh Lord, why are we laughing at Jeffree Star? We're laughing at Jeffree Star because Aeson has taken it upon himself to tell Natalie what color lipstick Natalie should
No, I said I'd like to see this color lipstick on her. And I'm sorry, Jeffree Star is who I had to when I look for colors because Jeffree Star's makeup has the right colors.
Okay, this sounds complicated. His ex-boyfriend who dated Bobby Eitz is on a reality show I watch now. Hi, Facebook user. Is it Emily again? I'm guessing at this point. I don't know.
Well,
But no,
yeah,
we're not laughing at Jeffree Star.
no, we're not laughing at Jeffree Star. We like Jeffree Star, and a lot of
Which we're
people
forced to
don't.
say because we don't have the YouTube clout to take his ass on.
I don't care. The only thing I want to take on is I want the fucking PR packs, Jeffrey. Deliver them. The address is down there.
Hey, Ashley. Yeah. No, because like Jeffree Star could cremate us and turn us into a very limited edition like eyeshadow.
He can cremate us as long as he gives me the cremated palette. Okay, that's my point.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
And he owes a nude palette out here lately. But anyhow,
Okay.
no, we were discussing makeup, and when we discuss makeup, we go to Jeffrey. Granted, I don't have the budget for Jeffrey, but baby, if I did, we would.
No. See, I always go CoverGirl.
I don't do CoverGirl in showing colors because they're off. The latest CoverGirl stuff looks like it came out of Too Faced Makeup's collab and failed.
Ashley says, and Wood, he ain't got no chill.
Uh-huh. Again.
Oh well. I look
like
forward to
Jeffree
being
Star's
compressed into a palette soon. Hi, Jeffrey.
Yes. I like Jeffree Star makeup. I think he's hilarious.
Ooh,
Mac is
Ashley's
okay,
living
but
it
it's
out.
classic. Like, the stuff Mac has currently is nowhere near the quality Mac had.
I'm sorry, I'm still stuck in the world in which Mac was like the underdog. I know they've gone on since then, but when I hear that, my brain just goes, what?
Yes.
Like, no, they used to be like, ooh, Brenda's got a question.
All right, we'll take this one.
All right, Brenda 2263. What is with my sister? And that's in quotes, because as far as I know, I don't have one. That people have asked me about all my life. They don't even know why they said it after they refer to her.
Oh, that's past cell memory. You used to have a twin sister 2 lives ago. You know her now. But that's the one they keep talking about.
Okay.
Okay. See, I miss when he would actually review makeup. Like, that's how I discovered Jeffrey, is when he done makeup, not his music. I wish he would get back to reviewing some makeup.
Who got angry? Oh,
I
Robert.
got to piss somebody off. I mentioned Jeffree Star. I got to piss somebody off.
Oh, Robert got angry.
Ooh, poor baby Robert.
I guess he does have a headache.
Give him some aspirin.
All right. So, ready for Ashley?
Yes.
Okay, Ashley 82696. 1. What do tomorrow's events have for me? I'm expecting a very eventful day. 2. I'm thinking I'm laughing a business and need insight, and will it be a flop or a bop?
Oh, you're launching a business.
Okay, thank you. Like, I was like, what?
See, dyslexia plays into the game sometimes.
It helps. It helps.
Yes. Well, you're going to have a path choice to make tomorrow. You got to decide what you want to do with it. Don't let your emotions hold you back, but also don't be the rescuer in this game. I don't think your business will be a flop, but I think you need to get in there and do some more damn research into it. Be digging it up a little bit deeper and making sure that you don't set boundaries you can't hold up to.
All right.
You'll be launching a business.
Yes, launch it.
Yes. All right, guys. We have reached that precipice time. We've actually gone a little longer, but that's okay. It'll be good. It's all good.
They say they want shorter shows, but then when we try to do shorter shows, they want longer shows. I don't know what to do with them.
Shows that we provide.
Exactly.
Especially with this cable company that you get to go and aggravate with, because according to what I'm running, we're still good.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right, guys, we will be back on Thursday with coffee and tea, not coffin and tea.
New show idea, Coffins and Tea special for fucking October. That's where you were at.
No, I'm not.
I feel it. I love it.
I do want to talk a moment about tomorrow night, though. You guys normally get a respite on Wednesday nights. You're not getting one this week. Lady Gwendolyn's coming in with her cauldron, and she's stirring up some mouse at 8 o'clock. Be sure to tune in. Enjoy her cauldron readings. It'll be fun. She'll be on for at least 2 months on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. And with that, we will be letting you guys go for a lovely evening. It was great talking tonight about Inanna and the book. Be sure to go grab that. The link's in the description, and it's up there. And also, let's see what else is going on. Mountain Bears is on tonight. Friday night, and then Psychic The Plans is on Friday night.
Psychic The Plans is on Friday night?
No, it's on Sunday night. I don't know. Guys, it has been a busy week, and my planner looks like it's bleeding ink again.
Oh,
but
no.
Hey, that's the fun part of this stuff. All right, guys, you have a magical evening, and we'll talk to you later.
All right, and we do want to thank Beverly Walker, Mika G, Kathy, Mary Winfield, Brenda Bryan, Ashley Gish, Shannon C, Shannon D, Lady Gwendolyn, Charles Shaw, Dottie the Psychic, Tracy Van, Donna White, and the Laughing Tree Grove. If you'd like to learn more about us, the show, or how you too can become a barista and receive all the wonderful benefits that our Patreons receive, please visit us at pcsbnetwork.com.
Yep. Good night, y'all.
Good night.
Tell me the deck is stacked. You can whisper behind my back. You can show me how the odds are up against me all day long. But I've been through the fire and come out alive, and there's no more fear in my eyes. Oh, now I'm rising, and you can't bring me down. You can't stop me now.